Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Carlene.
And I'm Jay. We are also known as Jaylene.
On this channel, we recap and provide our reviews for Married at First Sight.
Today we'll be reviewing episode 23, Last Call for Music City.
If you are new to our channel, welcome. If you're returning with us, welcome back. Thank you to all who subscribed, commented, or liked our videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe now and remember to click that notification bell. Let's start off with Clint and Hank. Clint took Hank on a walk through the executive offices in their city. Clint thought that he was the perfect tour guide, but Hank in his confessional thought otherwise. Why did they give Hank his own confessional? Production has nothing better else to do.
That's the exactly same thing I was thinking. Why is Hank, this is the first dog ever, right, to get his own confessional? That's telling me production is stretching. This should have been a 3-month season instead of being a 6-month season.
Kirsten and Jasmine met up at an ice cream shop to discuss business. So they want to go into business together doing party buses like around the city. Jasmine looked like she wanted to curse Kirsten out when she mentioned a rock and roll bus. And then Jasmine thought of the Dream Express bus, but she didn't like that either. In her confessional, Kirsten talked about how much energy was drained in her marriage, but how she's happy now. I guess they were clowning their ex-husbands because they're going to be making all this money with this new business venture, but their ex-husbands won't be a part of it. Nicole and Chris. So they were packing up items from Nicole's apartment to move into their own place. Nicole and Chris FaceTimed Nicole's dad to invite him over for the holidays. It's interesting to see her dad so happy towards Chris and not giving him such a hard time like before. Her dad even made a request of what Chris should make, but he said he was joking.
I feel we don't need to see any more of Nicole and Chris. They stayed married. They don't have really any drama to follow that was going to keep people interested besides her having money issues where it comes to spending her money, and Chris is more frugal with his money. Other than that, we don't need to be following them.
Dominique and her mom. So Dominique was having a meal with her mom and they talked about McKinley. She told her mom about Gina and McKinley going on a date. Her mom wanted to know her feelings about it. Dominique was like, it's weird, right? And she didn't care. Yes, you do care, Dominique, because you wouldn't have made that comment. So Dominique's mom wished that Dominique could still be friends with McKinley. Her mom blamed herself for this situation. Well, it was her mom who signed her up for it, but Dominique decided to go through with it. Dominique talked about reaching out to Gil, and her mom knew exactly who that was. She was like, the firefighter? Airris's date. So Airris had a date at a Berry Bowl place. When his date arrived, she complimented him and he did the same. So Airris let us know that she went through the Married at First Sight process, but she wasn't matched. She actually reached out to him, and just like Airris, Kendra is an only child. While they were eating, she wanted to know why he got a divorce, and he said there was no spark. Airris asked her about her deal breakers, and she did mention like if her partner wasn't a Christian. So when she kept asking, what do you think, for the second time, I thought she was going to ask him that question throughout the entire date. Airris thinks that she going to church is good for her.
Soon as she asks, pretty much was telling him that she wants her person to go to church, and he didn't say anything, that should have told her everything she needed to know right then and there. If Airris is not a person who wants to go to church, you're not going to make him. Because he's pretty much still an F-boy, not a settled down husband type guy. So she should have got up, walked out, and say, nice meeting you, blah, blah, blah. But this ain't going to work. This ain't, it's not going to work if they continue to date and she wants a husband.
She did pause for a while, but I think if they weren't on camera, she probably would have been like, well, it was nice meeting you, and walked off. But she can't do that on camera.
So you're saying she's just being nice because she's on camera and don't want to show her true colors?
I think she wants to be able to date again. So who's going to reach out to her if they think that she's just going to get up and walk off once they say something that doesn't sit well with her?
Everyone in America does not watch this show.
Besides being an only child, they both like to keep their homes cool, and their dads passed away. So Kendra wants to get married to create a bigger family, and Airris wants the same. Unlike ignoring Jasmine when she would talk while he was eating, Airris listened to Kendra and possibly wants to go out on a second date.
It's probably because she's thicker and not skinny as Jasmine. We seem to know he like a girl with a booty, and I guess someone who has more meat on their bones.
Nicole and Chris. So Nicole had a birthday party for her dog, Charlie. Airris, McKinley, Dominique, and Clint was there, and Kirsten showed up later. Dominique and McKinley gave fake hugs, getting there and leaving. Why do they do this? You know it's forced. Chris was happy when Kirsten said how she reached out to Shaquille. Nicole, Dominique, and Kirsten met separately. Kirsten said how she doesn't want to be Shaquille's friend because she wants to move forward. She asked about when Dominique sees McKinley, and Dominique says, there's no beef. Chris met with Clint and says marriage hasn't been that difficult. Clint reminded him that they are still in the honeymoon phase. Nicole says there isn't growth every day in the marriage, but they are maintaining. She is happy that Chris still loves her after seeing all the sides of her. Gina and her parents. Gina met for a meal with her mom and stepdad. Gina says how Clint keeps offering her all this money to buy Hank, and Gina's mom wasn't having it. She wished that Clint would fall head over heels in love with Gina instead, but her stepdad tried to bring her mom back to reality. Gina talked about the date with McKinley. Her mom thinks that this will allow Gina to get married right away so she can have another grandchild besides Hank.
I had an issue with the mom in this scene where she said, how could anyone not fall in love with you? Speaking to Gina. And I'm like, is Gina telling her the whole story? Because that wasn't just a one-sided relationship. I had an issue with that.
You know, when someone's telling a story, they're going to tell the part that makes them look good.
She doesn't look good all season.
Shaquille meets with Jasmine and Airris. Shaquille was happy to see them. Jasmine and Airris talked about their separate dates, and Shaquille says he's not there yet. Shaquille talked about being alone as he's dealing with his grandmother's death. When Kirsten reached out, he wished that she only was calling to talk about his grandmother. He was grateful that she did call and Jasmine was backing her girl up. Shaquille says he wants to be friends with Kirsten, but couldn't understand why Kirsten couldn't look at him during the last group outing. Jasmine had to speak up for her girl. Shaquille was giving the same blank stares that he used to give to Kirsten when Jasmine was trying to explain. Shaquille says he will listen and validate Kirsten's feelings when they meet up, but he is sticking to his decision because he doesn't want to play games. Gina and her lawyer. So Gina had a video call with her lawyer, and we were reminded again how expensive divorce is. Gina was concerned that Clint was really going to take Hank.
I had more beef with this scene, how production made it seem like all season long or towards the end, how they made it seem like Clint was going to try to steal Hank. It's like, if you have to fabricate all these little things, that just tells you how bad the season was overall, and you guys need to cast a lot better, or don't cast people who just want to be on TV for 15 minutes of fame.
Kirsten and her cousins. So Kirsten met with her cousins, the married couple, to talk about the divorce. She said how Shaquille mentioned that she wasn't being nurturing and the intimacy wasn't there. Her cousin asked Kirsten if she could have been more nurturing, and Kirsten thought that she made up for missing that work event. They thought Shaquille was asking for too much in a short amount of time. Kirsten talked about how difficult it is being single again, but how she doesn't miss Shaquille. Her cousins wanted to know why they were meeting up again, and her cousin was like, she wouldn't be meeting up with a guy that broke up with her. Clint met with a dog breeder, and he saw 2 puppies. He had a great time playing with them, but I was like, he can't separate them. Clint didn't want to make a quick decision because he wanted to meet with other breeders. And just like Dominique's dog, it looked like he wanted to take this one. Clint says that he is still willing to give Gina a lot of money for Hank. So Dominique and Gil. Dominique FaceTimed Gil for a meet and greet, but it looked more like a counseling session. I wonder how much Gil got paid to advise Dominique. Dominique complimented Gil and he took it. He asked about the experience of married at first sight with her. Dominique talked about her marriage ending, and Gil was surprised that she made that decision. When Dominique said that her marriage lasts 11 days, you know Gil wanted to end that phone call. That's when the counseling session began.
I liked Gil during his season. The only thing I had issue with Gil during his season was he kept ragging on Mirla. I ended up more liking her towards the end, but for this particular conversation between Gil and Dominique, that was pointless and a waste of time. I don't know why she wouldn't want to date Gil when he's not even in the same state, and that was her beef with McKinley. And you can tell just by watching it, Gil was not interested in Dominique whatsoever. It's like all the vibes were off, and I don't know if she caught it or didn't catch it, but this was a waste of time.
Dominique gave that same face she had when Pastor Cal was trying to explain why they shouldn't get a divorce, but Dominique was sticking to her decision. However, she didn't answer the question about still wanting to be married, or should I say she was just interested in dating someone for a long period of time. Then she gave information that she didn't need to. So Gil didn't need to know that production started this by asking her who she wanted to talk to, and he really didn't know that she wasn't really interested in him until production put that idea in her head. I don't know why, but your name just came to my mind. That's another moment that Gil wanted to end the call. Dominique ended that awkward silence by asking Gil if he was dating anyone. Gil was like, yeah, but he just doesn't want to date anyone. And then he finally ended the call saying that maybe they could do this again. But he couldn't look straight into the camera when he said that because he didn't believe it himself. Kirsten and Shaquille. They decided to meet on what looked like a park bench. Kirsten asked about his family and he shared what's been happening. Kirsten gave a few minutes before jumping into closing the chapter of this marriage completely. Kirsten says, I wasn't the only reason why you wanted to get a divorce. Shaquille tells Kirsten that he wanted to be married to her, but they never were on the same page. He said, I'm not that malicious. Okay, well, how malicious are you?
Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking. Because at the end, when they had their little talk or whatever like that, I felt it's like he was some kind of demon or something inside him. It was like it was a shift, like a Ike Turner, Joe Jackson type of shift.
Kirsten couldn't understand why Shaquille was crying during the decision. He said that he made the decision for himself and he didn't know he was this lonely. Shaquille wanted to know where did they go from here. Kirsten says that she's a cordial person. But what was Shaquille expecting? That they were going to be best friends and stay up late at night talking? She did reach out to him first, but in the end, Shaquille said that Kirsten isn't nurturing and has no emotions. So let's talk about this group meeting. So the parents of the group, Nicole and Chris, met first at the group meeting place. Again, it had access. So according to Clint, they were throwing access for access. Everyone minus Kirsten, Shaquille, and McKinley were in attendance. Airris thought it would be funny to ask to get in touch with McKinley, and then he asked Dominique or Gina to reach out to him. So Dominique pointed to Gina, but when Gina called McKinley, there was no answer. They were talking about reaching back out to exes for some reason, and then Clint kept getting closer and closer to Dominique. Everyone was confused. I guess he started petting Dominique, and Gina was like, "You never pet me." The group tried to get them to go out on a date. Jasmine was so confused. When Clint asked if she wanted to go out for tacos too, Jasmine made it clear that she wasn't going to be a part of this wife swap. Then Nicole thought it would be a good idea to suggest that Dominique and Clint throw axes and then kiss. So their axe throwing was successful, so they went through with the kiss. It surprised them so much that Jasmine and Airris thought that they were still married and they were hugged up.
Again, with production, it's like they made us think, oh, what, Gina and then what, Mac were going to hook up, and now Dom and Clint, like they're switching spouses, which was all fabricated, which I said in another video that most likely it's the truth or dare type of thing, and it wasn't on their own fruition. So pointless, and production just trying to get stuff for them to do and talk about.
In their confessional, you could see how drunk they were, Clint more than Dominique. Then they talked about the makeout session, and Clint was Clint and said that he kissed worse. Dominique was too drunk to care. Gina tried coaching Clint and told him not to say what he was thinking. Gina said that she wasn't jealous by the kiss, but she mentioned how young Dominique is. The group talked about what they're expecting to do moving forward.
Okay, final thoughts. This season was hot garbage. Production did a very poor job this season. They need to pick people who actually want to get married, maybe bring it back down to 3 couples, actually have counselors meet with the couples. I think they usually maybe have one couple that both are actually trying to have a marriage and make it work. Usually it's been one the past few seasons. But pretty much it was like a lot of fabricating on production's end, making it seem like drama's going to happen where there really was no drama. Usually all the drama happens on the honeymoon, because that's where it's a make it or break it if they're going to get along or not get along. And they need to stop having these people or allow them to quit with less than 3 weeks into the marriage. They need to vet these people a whole lot better. And it looks like next season is going to be Denver. And I feel we're going to get the exact same thing we got this season with the Denver season.
Yeah, the season wasn't the best. It was okay. I think that they should have less couples so they can focus. When they started off with about 3 couples, maybe 4, and the experts really spending time with them, going in more often, sitting down, asking them questions, and not just letting them, hang out to dry somewhere. And then also, I guess this after decision day, I don't think we need to see this much after decision day, maybe a couple of days, but yeah, this was really drawn out. It was really drawn out. Well, that's all we have for episode 23. What are your thoughts on episode 23? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please click that notification bell.
Later, everyone.
Bye.